besties. It's Lacy Schoen with Real Women, Real Success. And today I want to talk to you about answering all the questions that you sent me about leaving your job and starting a business. I'm so excited about the overwhelming response. I appreciate the fact that so many of you took time to click that survey button and answer those questions. My passion and my goal is to help you succeed if you want to leave your job and start a business. And I just want to let you know, this has come into my life as something, an area where I can serve women totally by mistake. 4 years ago, when I left my job to become a coach and to help my husband run his coaching business and also to start a jewelry company, we have 3 companies, we're real busy. I really thought I was going to be coaching women on how to climb the corporate ladder, how to be a good leader, how to lead when you're not the leader, how to deal with difficult people, how to deal with a micromanager, how to advance in the workplace, how to get your boss to like you, all those things. And the fact is that I got a lot of coaching clients based on that expertise of mine. But over the last couple of years, what has gradually happened that is so fascinating to me is that a lot of women that have come to me for coaching have said, I thought that I really wanted some help learning some new skills in the workplace. But as I listen to you talk about what you're doing with your business and what you were able to do leaving your job and starting your businesses, I'm thinking that's really what I want to do. So really it's come as a result of the request from my one-on-one coaching clients. I never set out to do this, to help people start a business, to help women. I only work with women, start a business. But it's something I've had to put together because I want to serve my one-on-one clients. So I've found that more and more women are wanting to do this. There's a lot of women who have downloaded my financial planner online and how to plan financially to leave your job and start a business. So that's kind of how all this started. And I've been working really hard on providing a very clear roadmap on how women can succeed in leaving their careers and starting a business. And what's kind of cool about it is there's the opportunity to have a longer on-ramp if you need it, right? So if you're going to leave in 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 years, that's great. The process that I know, the one that I employed to leave my job and have a pre-made customer base, the one we built for my husband, the one I built for my jewelry company, all based on the same stuff. And so what's so interesting about it is all the questions that I got. What top 2 questions do you have about leaving your job and starting a business? That was the question I posed to all of you that I got such a great response on. And I'm going to answer every one of those questions, although a lot of them fall into the same themes. But most of them are just, what is the path? The overall theme for all the questions that I got is, what is the path? How is this done? So what I thought I'd do today for you is just shoot a quick video and show you the path, show you how this is done, or rather share it with you. And kind of have my whiteboard behind me. I'm going to draw a little bit for you. But basically, here's the thing. Here's how you do it. You build a following. You build your reputation as an expert or the go-to person for your given topic, product, or service online. You build a following of people that know, like, and trust you, raving fans, and you do that before you leave your job. That's what I did. That's what my husband did. I did it for 2 companies, and my husband did it for 1. And by the time we left our jobs, we had a pre-made customer base, and it creates immense confidence. When you have an income as a side hustle coming in from the besties, the following that you're able to create over time while you're working, it creates, you have a dollar figure. You know how much you're making now. Is it enough to make the leap? Or is it a kind of situation where you really need to build up your clientele a little bit more? Everybody has a different situation. I'm going to get into a few of those different scenarios. I've got some notes here. Those of you who know me, I'm not a formal speaker. I refer to my notes. It's not my intention to be perfect on film and be highly produced. I want to give you good information, okay? So if I look around and look at my notes and say a few that's me. But I'm here to serve you. I'm not here to be a movie star. I just want to help you succeed. So That's why I'm doing this, but I'm going to be referring to my notes and stuff as I go along. So let me teach you the 6-step process for building your customer base online. Okay, now this is good for you if you have nothing in mind for your business. Okay, in fact, if you're one of those people that goes, hey, I want to leave my job and start a business, but I have no idea what I'm going to do, I can walk you through literally a 2 or 3 question process that will probably get you pretty close to a good starting point of what you want to do for your business. So if you want to do that with me, I do that for free. I do free consultation on what business should I start all the time. It's completely different than everything else you see online, because people are going to usually ask you what's your passion, what are your strengths. I have a completely different approach that tends to make women more happy long term. So my email is lacy@lacyschoen.com. If you just want to shoot me an email and say, yes, I'd like a free 30-minute consultation on what kind of business, great. This is good for that. This is good for testing ideas. This is good if you already have a product and you just want to get it out there. This is good for product-based businesses as well as service and consulting-based businesses. I have a jewelry company. This is how I market my jewelry company, okay? And it's good for people that already have a business. Maybe it's a brick and mortar business, but they're just not getting the kind of scale, the kind of growth that they want, or the kind of customer that they want, right? And I've had some people who have a business say, oh, my ideal customer is not online. Everybody's online, okay? Everybody's online, 100% of consumers and people that make the economy go, everybody's online. The trick is finding them, and it's totally possible, but it is a process, but it's totally possible. So this process that I'm going to teach you right now, and I'm going to go through it fairly quickly because I don't want to take a lot of your time and I want to answer all your questions. I'm going to just take you through what this process is to try to give you a little more confidence, put your mind at ease that this is doable. I've done it. I'm teaching, all my one-on-one clients are doing this right now. They're building their online presence and reputation and following as an expert or the go-to on something. For some reason, I have a lot of people who are in the culinary industry, okay, who maybe make cakes or make anything that you can eat, right? Most of those are moving towards teaching that because I like to talk about one-to-one versus one-to-many. So if you have one customer that buys one cake from you, that's a one-to-one relationship. The only way to scale your business on a one-to-one is to have more one clients, and then you're building more one cake, right? But you can have a one-to-many relationship, and this is how you create freedom in your life. This is how you create more time. Yes, it takes a lot of time to get a business up and running. It does. But this is how you create more time in a business that you love. That is probably in the category, it can be in the category of a hobby or in the category of teaching someone a profession as a cake decorator. But this is something that can be taught online. And so what a lot of product-based companies are doing, and what I do with my jewelry business, is I sell the physical product, but I also teach people how to do what I do. And that is scalable one-to-many. And the many is only limited by how good you are at building your following online and how much you advertise after that. But you don't have to advertise to build your following. You don't have to do it at all. You can give yourself a long on-ramp if you want and build your following over time. Doesn't have to take a lot of your extra time, because I know if you're working a full-time job, a lot of times you're just like, I'm tired, right? You don't want to spend every waking moment starting your business. Well, you'll have to spend quite a bit of time, but when you're building your following, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I see I messed up my hair there. Okay, so let me go through this 6-step process of how you build this following online, because you can't sell anything unless you have customers. This is absolutely step 1, and this is absolutely the first 6 steps to starting any business that is going to be marketed online. What kind of businesses should be marketed online? Any business, right? Because everybody's online. And one more point for you, if I haven't already shared this with you, the average consumer, and this includes business to business, does 7 to 8 searches online before they decide where they're going to purchase. So don't you want to be one of the people that they find? Don't you want to get them onto your email list? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Email lists are key. If you want to sell anything online, you must build an email list. Social media platforms change, algorithms change, Twitter's going to change what they do, Instagram's going to change what they do, Facebook is going to change, Google's going to change, YouTube's going to change, everybody's going to change. And I'm not saying you don't use those things. In fact, the last step has to do with social media. However, the way you control your customer base is you build an email list that you can communicate with, and that's what this is all about. That's how you build a following. You can build a following through social media, but the idea is you get them onto an email list, and those are your customers, okay? Now, if you do this and you do it well, then you're going to have, excuse me, probably higher percentages of people who buy from you than everybody else on the internet, because we all know everybody's selling something on the internet, right? Excuse me. And there's people who are really good at it out there and people who are not. There's people who are really good at it that don't really have that great a product. So there's all these people out there. And what you must do is you must stand out as the sincere person that really cares about your potential customer, the people in your niche or your ideal client, right? So that's what this 6-step process is about. It's about building that trust. It's not just doing an ad and getting sales. It's getting people who are your raving fans into an email list that will buy from you over and over and over. When you talk to them regularly, like I talk to you, they're going to want to know, what more do you have? Because you obviously know your stuff and you can help me. That's the kind of community you want to build, and you can do that while you're still working. So first step is to understand the psychology of online marketing and who your ideal customer is. So let's start with the psychology of online marketing. I'm going to oversimplify this so I don't take too much time, but basically just think about what it takes for you to build a close relationship with someone, one that's trusted, one where you would trust them with secrets, with your money, with your well-being. That takes time, right? It wasn't just a handshake and, oh, hi, I met you and now I'm going to give you some money and I trust you. That's not how it works. It takes time to build human relationships. So what I mean by building your knowledge of how the psychology of online marketing works, what it is the way that you build that kind of trust through the tools available to you on the internet, right? Which happen to be social media, and then some of the technological tools that I'll tell you about that feed people into your email list. So you have to understand how to build a know, like, and trust relationship. People know you, they like you, and over time they really like you, and they trust you. They know you have their best interests at heart. And again, product-based, service-based, consulting-based businesses works for all of them, even business to business, okay? It's about building the know, like, trust and learning how it is that you develop that through a series of actions and tools on the internet, okay? So that's number one thing to learn. The next one is to learn your ideal customer. Now, I could easily say executive coaching works for all women. And I'm not even doing as much of that anymore because, as I said, all my executive coaching clients wanted to learn how to start a business. So now I've been doing that for like the last year and a half, 2 years. And it's super fun and I love it. But I could try to appeal to all women. But the problem is that, let me ask you a question. If I were to ask you right now, do you want some food? You might say, yeah, no, probably not. If I were to ask you, do you want a chocolate strawberry? You might go, that sounds pretty good. That sounds like you can taste it in your mouth. You can feel the strawberry juice kind of squishing around in there. You have an impression of what that would feel like, the enjoyment it would bring, and you go, yeah, I want that. That's the difference between trying to appeal to a broad audience and a niche market, which is your ideal client. Now, when you go for a niche market, okay, you can expand from there. A lot of times, word of mouth, that's just what happens, right? I didn't start out trying to teach how to start a business online. I mean, there's certainly enough people out there doing that. But my client base, asked me to start teaching them how to do this. So now what does that mean? What that means is my market is very possibly all the type of women that were hiring me for coaching, which happens to be typically somewhere in the middle or director tier in an organization, someone who hasn't quite made it to the top. Maybe they are or are not interested. Most of them have changed their mind along the way as they've been working with me. And so that's a real specific niche. It has an income range associated with it. It has titles associated with it. It's something I can target. Here's another example for you. My jewelry company. I make jewelry out of vintage pieces. And I could say all women would love it, but that is really difficult to target. You know who I target is the Red Hat Society. They're all women who are 50 and older, and they go to historic teas. And when they go to historic teas, and I mean sip tea, right? When they go to those historic teas, they like to dress up in period, in 1920s, in 1800s, in Victorian or whatever. So they are a piece of my niche market. And that's who I approach when I'm doing my online, my social media posts, when I'm doing my advertising, when I'm building more of my following for my jewelry company. So I spent a lot of time on that, but really important in that first step to really hone down your ideal customer. And a lot of times you can find out by starting your social media presence, starting this whole ball rolling, and seeing who resonates with what you have to say, right? That's kind of how we test the topic. So step number 2, you build a lead magnet. So it's no longer ask and you shall receive, it's give and you shall receive. So people who get the customers are the people who are giving away a lot for free. And you have to decide, what can you give away for free of value, of real value, that people would be willing to give you their email and their first name for, right? We don't ask for last names anymore. You could do that. You're less likely to get their name if you do that. And this is something that you would put out on social media is, hey, the 10 steps to this. Or a lot of you ended up on my email list because I offered a financial planner, your financial roadmap to leaving your 9-to-5 and starting your business. So that is a pretty hefty document. If you filled it all out, you would have a roadmap. So that's something that a lot of people could charge for. It should be something that you could potentially charge for, but you're giving away for free, and you find a way to get people to give their email address to you in exchange for your lead magnet. Okay, next. Once you have people into your email list, because your lead magnet, that's what it's for, getting people off social media and onto your email list, okay? Once you do that, you need to warm them up. You need to nurture them. This is that honeymoon period where you're getting to know each other. You're trying to show them who you are, what you're about, what your passions are, what you have to offer. You're giving them some free training. You're helping them through the lead magnet. You're giving them this sort of warm up to who you are and what you want to offer them and what your value is in their life, right? So you need to create that nurture sequence of emails. Each one has very specific things that you need to say, but we're not going to have time to get into that here. You build a landing page. So this is the tech part, right? This is the part that stumbles a lot of people. There are people who are good at tech out there. I've gotten good at it, but I didn't start out that way. It's been kind of really some brain trauma for me to figure out the tech. But you need to figure out building an email list and building a landing page and connecting that to your email list and getting a link and putting it out on social media with the right graphic so you can get people to click on your link, put in their name and email address on your landing page. Some people call it an opt-in page. Some people call it a squeeze page, whatever you call it. It's where you put the email and the name in, okay? You got to build that and connect it to your database, your CRM, your contact relationship management software. And then you build for the emails that I said, the warm-up series or the nurture sequence, the emails when someone gets on your list that you send them out periodically to warm them up. You put those on what's called an autoresponder. This is more tech, I know, but the thing is, once you get your social media set up and you have a lead magnet, you start doing this, you want this to run around the clock. You want to build your following while you're sleeping, right? You want to keep building your loyal following that turns into customers at any point in the day. So you need something. You don't want to have to sit down at your computer and send a PDF every time someone joins your list. You want that to happen automatically. And it can be done for actually pretty inexpensively, but it's more the tech. So you got to set up your autoresponder that automatically sends out your nurture sequence, and one that you can use to send out your future contacts, because you got to stay in touch with your list over time. And then there's getting yourself out there via social media. And what platform you use depends on where your ideal client is hanging out. So that's something that, to be considered. Where is your niche market hanging out online? And that's where you want to build your social media presence. And then after that, after you've got all that built, you simply communicate with these people on a regular basis. Now, I used to do weekly, and some gurus that I follow email weekly. I do every 2 weeks because people get a lot of emails, and I would rather help women and have them not unsubscribe because I have a lot to offer and a lot of help to provide than go every week and people get kind of burned out, especially for busy working women. I mean, if women are working hard at a full-time job and trying to start a business, there's not a lot of extra time in that day. So I don't want to be a burden. I want to be a help. So I go every 2 weeks. But the point is consistency. Whatever time frame you decide, consistency is the key. You have to stay in touch with these people. And if you build this whole, you could call it a following funnel, you can do this over time and build your following. So this is the key to security and confidence in launching your business. So let me show this to you. Okay, so let's say that you're going to leave your job in a year, or let's say 2 years. Let's take either scenario, 1 or 2 years, right? And a year isn't that long, right? Think about 2018. How fast did that blow by for you? I mean, a year's not that long. So start planning this now. Start doing this now, okay? So here you are. Here's 2 years. Here's 1 year. Here's today, okay? So you build all this, the 6 steps I just told you about right here. Let's say over the next several months, you do that, right? You build your funnel, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you start building your audience, right? You start building your email list is really what it is. And it's going like this, and like this, and like this, okay? Well, during this time where you're consistently, you see there's a little, you see that? I got the lights in back of me and it's kind of glaring on there. But during this time, while this is growing, you have a number of options. Number one, maybe you go, you know what, this is working great, but I want to amp it up. I want this curve to go like this. I want 10,000 people on my email list. Awesome. Then you just simply learn how to advertise right here with your lead magnet. You advertise with your lead magnet. That's how a lot of you people got on my list. That's how many of the women that are following me got on my list, is they saw an ad that I had for a lead magnet, okay? This advertising is, there's a lot of different platforms to advertise on. I personally think the best one is Facebook. They're the cheapest. They're one of the hardest to figure out, but they are the cheapest. So if your avatar, if your ideal client is on Facebook, awesome. This is how you can kick that up. You can hire people to do this for like $2,000 or $3,000 to figure this out for you per month. There's some other options. I'm going to tell you about some options that you have at the end of this video, but I just want to teach you this first. So that's one option you have. The other option is, even if your list is a little smaller, you could say, you know what, I've been talking to these people. I've sent out a couple questionnaires. I'm actually talking, I'm having a 2-way dialogue with them. I'm getting to know them. They're getting to know me. I probably could launch something while I'm still working, a product or a service, right? I might be able to start a group coaching program. I might be able to start an instructional video program that I could sell before I've even left my job. And that way you up your income, right? Because what you're looking for is for the dollars to go up, right? Because you're going, when can I afford to leave my job? So you sell a product, or like I did, I started coaching before I left my job. I started selling jewelry before I left my job. So I had an income, and I'll get into this more of this a little later, but I also saved some money, right? So I knew that when I got to a certain dollar amount, it'd be safe to leave. And what's so cool is I knew I was already making money. I already knew people like me. Well, I knew it was a factor of getting this list growing. And my conversions are like at 10%. So that's because I really put my all into what I'm doing. And that's what you have to do. You have to have a service heart, put your all into what you're doing. If you're really serving these people, you will have a high conversion rate. So if you got 10,000 people on your list and you can get between 5 and 10, the average is 1.7 to 2.5 of the typical online marketer. So if you can get 5 to 10%, what me and my husband have through our online funnels, what does that mean when you have 10,000 people on your list? What is that? 1,000 people are going to buy your, that's huge. So this is really important. Building your following is important. It's building your customer base while you're still working, okay? Let's say you're just doing this, and maybe you start a product 3 months before you're going to leave your job, or maybe you start one right when you do leave because you've saved enough money. Everybody has a different scenario, but the point is you have to start building your following now. If you ever hope to leave your job and start a business, you have to have that pre-made customer base, and you have to have the confidence to know you have people who want what you have to offer. You know what they want because you've been in a 2-way dialogue with them through this funnel you've built and growing it. So I hope that makes some sense. If it doesn't, please shoot me an email And let me know. I'm glad to explain it further in more detail or with different words or whatever works for you. So, oh my gosh, the response on these questions, thank you so much. There's so many of us out there that want to leave our job and start a business. And it is tracking with trends, okay? And for those of you that are feeling a little insecure about starting a business because you don't know if you'll fail, that is one of the questions. What do I do if I'm not sure if I'll fail or not? You cannot fail if you stick with it. There's two things to keep you from failing. You have to stick with it and you have to be willing to pivot. What I mean by that, what I mean by pivoting is if your customer base is showing you that you conceived of this product, but they really want they're concerned about something else, then just fulfill it. If you're a service heart, which most women are really service oriented, then pivot towards what they want and just don't give up. I want to share something with you right now. This is what you can expect if you start a business. This is a day in the life of an entrepreneur. I don't know if you can see that completely or not. I'm going to take off my little thing here. This is a day in the life of an entrepreneur, okay? Here's how your emotions are going to be. I'm excited. Oh, this is hard. It's working. I messed up. Give up the good for the great. I think I'm going bankrupt. I'm good. I don't know why I get so down on myself. I was wrong. I said, wait a second, life is great. I mean, this kind of up and down is really common in the circles that me and my hubby hang out in, right? And it's because entrepreneurship it's fluid. It's ever changing. And when you're marketing online, which is the only way to market now, online keeps changing. So as long as you're flexible and you're willing to pivot and you stick with it, you actually do the work, there's really no way that you can fail. I know that sounds like a pretty big statement, but I just don't believe there is. I've had days up and downs with my jewelry company, ups and downs with my coaching business. Dean is certainly my husband. I'm his CMO, his chief marketing officer. He's had up and downs, but I'll tell you what, we stuck with it and we've doubled our revenue every year since we've been in business. Let me tell you this little piece of information because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of online marketers, they'll imply that you can become a millionaire overnight. And I will never tell you that. I think that's untrue. I'm not going to use the acronym, but it's just not true. Here's what's typical. And in the circles that we run in online marketing, there's plenty of millionaires. We spend a lot of money on training every year, and every year it pays off manyfold. And most of them would tell you that it took them 5 years to make their first 100,000. And that is because it just takes that much time to understand the tech, to understand this new way of connecting with people, to understand how to create this know, like, trust, this literally one-on-one relationship you're creating with people you don't even know over the internet. That just takes time to understand. The tech takes time to understand. Advertising, where they hang out, takes time to understand. Building your product takes time to put into place. If you have to pivot, that takes time. So I think that it's realistic to say, now, Dean and I are going to hit $100,000 this year, and it's our 4th year. But we've been working really hard, and I've been a CEO all my life. And not only that, I've owned 8 different businesses. So I think we had a little bit of an edge or a competitive advantage in doing our businesses. So we're hitting that 100,000 about a year early, and we'll hit $1 million probably a couple years early. But it's the trajectory. It's how it works, and it's how committed are you to creating that and to sticking with it. We had quite a hefty salary to replace, and we still haven't. As you know, between both of us, we made about $500,000 a year. So we aren't replacing that. A lot of you who wrote in questions were talking about replacing your full salary. Now, Dean and I looked at it as a quality of life issue. The fact that I get to call the shots in my day and I get to serve women that I want to serve and that I get to take advantage of my unique talents, that is worth not making as much money for a few years, right? It's an investment long-term too, because I know our long-term earning potential is way bigger than what we were making between us when we were in our career jobs. So you have to ask yourself what your quality of life is worth. And if you're okay with how long it takes to kind of build this momentum. Momentum is everything. And again, you can speed this up with advertising. But what you can't replace is building this know, like, trust over time. You've got to start now. If you think you want to leave your job and start a business, or if you have a business, you're working a job and you have a business, you have to start this process now. It's the only way that you're going to have a customer base and be successful, okay? So I have one question about omni-channel marketing technique. Now, we hang out with all the biggest gurus in online marketing in one way or another, and I've never heard that term. It doesn't mean it's not a valid term. I don't know that you need to know it in online marketing. I would guess multi-channel means social media channels. If I'm wrong about that, please hit reply and let me know. But I have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page. So, you can have as many social media channels as you like. I like to recommend that you master one. How can I know when it's time to leave? I kind of just gave you an idea of when you start building this momentum, people are following you, you're doing a video a week or every 2 weeks on your topic or on your product, adding some value along the way. You'll start to get to know when people are responding to you. You'll start to get to know and have ideas about when to launch a product, and you'll start to have more confidence. And depending on the amount of money you need to live on, that is, that's how you can answer when you can leave, right? We were willing to take a huge cut in pay. We paid off all our bills and took a huge cut in pay. You may or may not be able to do that. But if you fail, I think it's not whether you fail, I think it's whether you're committed. We are super committed to solving the problems that have come up for us. We've made all the mistakes and fixed them. So I think it's just a matter of commitment. And again, as I said, being willing to pivot. Can I meet my financial responsibilities and maintain my current standard of living? I don't know. But as I just told you, I know millionaires that have said it's taken them 5 years to get to $100,000. So it depends on how much money you make and if that's going to be acceptable to you. And if before you get to 100,000 is making 50,000 a year acceptable, is making 25, is making 6. When my husband was in his last year of work, he made $6,000 in his business. So he knew that if he just scaled his business, he could double that and triple that, and that's what we've been doing. So you have to ask yourself, based on that scenario, when can I leave? Because it's something that I can't answer specifically for you unless I know the numbers in your target and what you need to live on. But you know that information. How will it impact my future financial and personal goals as I move into retirement? That's a tough one too, because I don't know what your personal goals are, but a lot of people build their businesses to be able to sell. So you notice my business is Real Women, Real Success. A lot of people really promote, make it your name, Lacy, Schoen, and we are really in the Jeff Walker community. Jeff Walker, that's his name, but I want to sell my company someday. So it can't really be based on my name. I'll need to train other women, other people to do what I do so that someone can take on the business. But I'm setting mine up to be saleable. So that's going to help me in my retirement. We also have an amazing investment strategy. If you haven't read Tony Robbins' book, Unshakable, read it. It's all about investment strategy, and it's wonderful and brilliant. And that could help you as far as when you move into retirement. We both feel, my husband and I, that we will never be fully retired. We always want to serve in some capacity. We just want to do it anywhere in the world and on our own terms. So we've set up businesses where we get to travel, where we can do it from anywhere. As long as I have a laptop, I can do this from anywhere. And so that's the kind of thing you have to ask yourself is in retirement, what does that look like to you? Are you going to travel? Are you going to stop working completely? That's a different strategy than I'm going to keep working, but I'm just going to ramp down a little bit, okay? Someone wrote, do you want to have free time with your loved ones? Do you want to retire with no financial stress? The answers to that are yes. Obviously, that's part of the reason that you do this. Quality of life, more freedom and flexibility. Financial viability and staying solvent. So one of the big mistakes that I see a lot of online businesses make, some startups make, is they don't invest enough in their training and in their own education, right? This is a new world, and it's a world you can't see. The internet is not a world you can see. You have to learn about it. You have to learn how it works. It's like learning a new language, and it's really important. So financial viability and staying solvent is a product of understanding the world that you're in and making sure that you have the knowledge and tools to be able to keep up with it, because it's constantly changing. I can tell you that every time my husband and I spend a big chunk of money on training, we double our revenue. It's it's one of those things, though, that just sometimes people stumble on, is the idea of how, for some reason, people don't really question spending a lot of money for college with no guarantee of a job, but question actually learning something new for their own business, which is a little curious to me, but you got to do. I'll just throw it out there and say you got to do it because none of us are experts at something that's constantly changing. And if you want to be successful, you have to invest in yourself. It's really that simple. And that's how you stay solvent, is that you learn the new techniques, you learn the new strategies, what's changing in the environment, and then you respond to that. You do the work, okay? And keep growing your list. Keep growing that following. Grow the following. The validity of a business idea. This is great. This process is perfect for validating an idea, okay? Like, for instance, I didn't ask to be training people on online marketing. I was asked to do it, and I want to serve, so I'm pivoting towards what my clients want, right? What I'm being asked to do. That came to me through my clients and my experience through this of one-on-one conversations and interactions and requests for videos and all these different things that I did through building my list. So it is the absolute perfect way to test ideas. Like I said, I didn't test this when it came to me, and that could happen to you too. As you start on a certain path, people start responding and telling you, hey, this is what we're interested in. And that's what I mean. You got to be willing to pivot. I'm pivoting right now towards what my besties want and what they need and what I know will help them be very successful. So if you're willing to do that, then you don't have to start out with a viable business idea. You have to start out with an idea of what you want to do, and then you start this process and you can test it. It's easy to do that through this process. Do I have capital? Do I have the capital I need to support my business? So I picked two different kinds of businesses. The product-based business required some upfront costs. There's almost nothing you can't figure out online now. We have way more educational resources online than we've ever had available to us. So you can find out what startup costs for just about any business online. And for product-based, I had a pretty good idea of what my jewelry company was going to cost me. It cost me about $50,000, and I saved that while I was still working and invested that while I was still working. So by the time I left, I didn't have a lot of investing to do. I'd purchased my education. That's another thing I would say to you, is view your job as a tool to get you where you want to go. That financial planner is all about knowing what your expenses are, cutting back where you can, making that sacrifice, because it's so worth it to have a life of freedom and quality of life and time with your family and ability to travel and all that. And save up the capital you need to start your business. If you can't do that, consider a service or consulting-based business. So for me, my coaching business took almost nothing to start up. It took me about $15 with a MailChimp account and a website that I'm paying $99 a year for. By the way, you don't need a website to do this process. I mean, it's good to have one eventually, but you don't need to have a website to build your following. Not necessary. So what you need to know is what your startup costs would be for the type of business. You might weigh different kinds of businesses. I've definitely helped quite a few women decide on a different type of business because of the upfront costs and the ability to go to that one-to-many. Remember I told you, either one-to-one sucks your time. One-to-many allows you to make money while you sleep. So you have to decide what kind of business you want. But startup costs for consulting and service-based businesses is a lot less. If you want to ask me any questions on a specific idea you have, please reach out to me via email, lacy@lacyschoen.com. Glad to help you. Free consultation, okay? So how do I get the money to do it? Like to think of your job that's the way to do it. Cut back on some expenses and start making your new business a priority, and that would probably help you out. That's certainly what I did. How do I survive on an unknown? What guarantees me an income? Nothing guarantees you an income even when you have a job. Nothing guarantees you a job. Nothing guarantees you an income. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'll bet on myself all day because I know my level of commitment to you and women and to the people that I serve. So I guess what I would say is the best guarantee you can give yourself is becoming really committed to serving others and solving problems. And if you're really committed to serving others and solving problems, I don't see how you can fail and how you can't grow your income, as long as you're taking action, as long as you're doing the work. So I hope that answers that question. Best alternatives, methods for saving for retirement and options for healthcare, very valid points. Dean and I just started paying for healthcare on our business. It's awesome because it's so much less expensive than when you're paying for it as an employee of somewhere else. So, I'm getting ready to tell you in a few minutes about something that I have that's coming up that could be helpful to you. And this is something I'm going to address in that. So let me put that on hold for right now. How can I match and exceed my current level of income and benefits? That happens over time. And I don't know what your current level of income and benefits are, but I just told you an average of 5 years to get to 100,000, an average of 10 to get to $1 million. That isn't true for everybody. There's people who've made it quicker and there's people who've never made it. But people who've never made it probably didn't make a commitment. And the people who made it quicker probably got a little lucky. So you have to answer that question for yourself. But that information, I hope that that's helpful. Will I be able to stay ahead of the curve in order to maintain and increase my income? If you stay educated on what's going on, you have to invest on your ongoing education in the online world in order to understand how to respond. And what I just gave you earlier, that 6-step process, that is the beginning. That is the number one first thing you need to do is start building your, you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to buy a program that teaches you how to build an online program. You don't have to really buy anything else other than a few small things. All you have to do is start building your following in order to make money, okay? That's the biggest thing. So once you start doing that and get to a good place, you have to have in your mind at some point you're going to need to start investing in some ongoing education to keep you viable in the market. Developing a product or a curriculum. How? Where to start? Financial stamina and growth. Okay, where to start? You start by building your following, because you're going to have an idea that you're going to put out there, and then you're going to get feedback through this process of building a relationship, building your following. They will tell you a product that they will buy. They will tell you. So there's a lot of security and confidence in that. And that's why you have to do this process. It's the way to get started. It is the way to get started. How much money should I have saved up? Personal expenses. When the business kicks in, I developed a financial planner so you can figure that out for yourself, because obviously it's different for everybody. Everybody's living expenses are different. Some people have a spouse that's helping them. Some people are single. Again, I'll offer, email me. You just hit reply and ask me a question if you'd like to know anything, to consult about your personal situation. How long should I go before I give up? I don't think you should ever enter it thinking you're going to give up. Don't do that, because as long as you're willing to pivot and you're committed to doing whatever it takes to make it work, right? Pivot and stay committed, do the work, you can make it successful. You're not going to have to quit. You may have to pivot, you may have to massage it, you may have to do something a little bit differently. It may look a little bit different than you started. Just my jewelry company's, my business model is completely different than what I started out with. But I still love it, and I pivoted towards what was going to sell. And so if you're willing to do that, you don't need to give up. You just got to keep going. How can I make money within 2 to 3 months of leaving my job and my new business? If that's your plan, then you want to plot that out on here. You want to decide, when do you want to start selling a product? Is it before you leave your job? And this is based on 2 years. You might have a plan of building your following that's just 1 year, and you might kick in advertising at 6 months because you really want to have that following and know what kind of product they want before you leave your job. So if 2 to 3 months is your goal, then you're going to have to know that you have 2 to 3 months of income within 2 to 3 months of leaving your job through this process of building your following. What is the trigger signal from my business home environment that leads me to decide that it's time to quit my job? All of these things. You're creating security. You know you have a following. You know you have a customer base. You have people telling you what they want from you. You're floating ideas out there. You get to a point of confidence where you know, okay, it's time to make the jump. It's time to make the leap. And if you have a good coach or a consultant that you're working with, or if you're part of my group, hey, being in a community of people doing what you're doing is so important. We spend quite a bit of money being in a community around the right people, because there's still a lot of people in the world that don't understand this online marketing thing. They know and they see brick and mortar businesses going down the tubes. They see businesses struggling, but they don't know that the reason is because they need to market online. A lot of people still see it as sort of like outer space. I mean, it's just different. It's a different language. They don't understand it. And because of that, they may or may not think you're sane for doing this, right? Someday it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is really common. Right now it's not. So you need a support group. Sometimes even your family might be a problem. They may not understand what you're doing. You need a support group. You need to be in a community of, I would say, women doing what you're doing, right? And the last one, how to get used to not having the double income. So this is a person who's talking about, I've created this following, I've started to sell, and now I'm still working. So I have my work salary and I have the income. And how do I get used to not doing that? Well, you reinvest everything from your new business into your business. You save it. You don't spend it. You don't go like this and have your spending be commensurate. You reinvest that into your business, or you put it in savings and wait for that huge high-end training you're going to need to really get you to that next step, right? And if you stick with me, I will tell you what those next milestones are, what those next steps are. But the first thing you need to do is you need to do this. That's the first 6 steps. So I know that's a long video. That is what I have for you today. And I have, something else to tell you about. Because I have received so many requests for this training, I never thought that I would be developing a training on this process here. But it's just something that I'm already almost fully booked on my one-on-one clients, and I want to serve at a greater level. I'm hearing from more and more women that they want to do this. And I guess I just couldn't live with myself if I didn't do something that would allow me to serve more people and actually allow them to save some money. I mean, I charge $1,000 a month for weekly coaching with my clients. So, that's a lot of money for some people, maybe not a lot for some others. But I wanted to work on a program where I could get a group of women together and start helping them go through this process, because there are technical aspects to it. There are psychological aspects to it. There's approaches that need to be, going deeper into this process is what the devil's in the details, right? So I have built this program that goes through these 6 steps that I'm going to be releasing in a couple of days. And we're going to be starting in January. And because it is built for working women, it's going to be one of these topics per month. And then there's going to be the homework between to build each one of these segments to build your following. So by the end of this, whoever is part of it will have their following building, their customer building, their security and confidence building funnel for future customers built. And it'll be on autopilot while they sleep, while you sleep. So the first session is going to be on that totally integral understanding of the psychology of online marketing and identifying and understanding your ideal customer or your niche. And then the second one, we're going to build our lead magnets. That means we're going to identify and help you identify what is it that will draw people in so much, give them enough value that they will give you your email, their email and their first name. And what is it that, what are the key components that lead magnet needs to have to really draw people in? Again, it's the psychology of online marketing. Then in, January, February, in March, we're going to write your nurture sequence. So we're going to write the emails that are going to draw those people in. We're going to get them to consume your lead magnet, really draw them in and start identifying you as an expert or the go-to person in your chosen field. Then in, January, February, March, April, we're going to build your landing page. Now that sounds simple, but connecting it all with the link and your database and all that stuff, we have to do that. I'm going to be on screen. Show this is all interactive. I'm teaching this live. This is the first and last time I'll ever teach this live to a group. I'm going to be recording it. So that's to your advantage because it's going to be highly interactive. It's going to be customized. It's only going to be for a small group of people because obviously to be that interactive and customized, it needs to be a fairly small group of people. But I'm going to get online, share my screen just like I did today, and build a landing page, record it so that as you go away to build your landing page after that particular month's class or lesson, you'll have something to watch to do it step by step. I'm also going to be making myself available between calls for coaching and support, technical support, moral support, questions. I think what I'll probably do is have some office hours, but I'll also be available to this group of women via email. Then in May, we're going to build your autoresponder. So what that is, and what this is going to do for you, is it's going to allow you to build your following while you're sleeping. So those emails that we wrote, the ones that are going to hook your people and really get them to love you, know, like, and trust you, and get them on a path and used to hearing from you regularly, we're going to put that all in a system that goes out automatically. So you don't have to sit down at your computer and send out your lead magnet every time someone gives you your email address. And this doesn't cost a lot of money to set up. I have used MailChimp to start. I'm currently on Kajabi, which is a more expensive platform, but MailChimp is $10 a month to start. It might even be $5 still, and super easy. And I'm going to show you how to do it in MailChimp because it's the least cost. If you wanted to use something else, you could, but it's the least cost. They have a great autoresponder, and that's what we're going to build in May. And then in June, our last class will be getting yourself out there on social media. We're going to show you, I'm going to really show you how to hit it hard and really get yourself out there. And this doesn't take a lot of time. Building this funnel of building your following doesn't take a lot of time. I've really broken it down into manageable bite-sized steps where I can support you each step of the way and show you step-by-step the tech involved and the psychology involved so you really understand what's going on. By the time you're done in June, it's like you're going to feel so free because you're going to understand that you are building this tool to build your business, which is your customer base. Then I'm going to have some bonuses. So one of the things that I think a lot of people want to know about when they start a business is how you can build a business that's taking care of your health care and your retirement. So that'll be a bonus that I'm going to be adding on. Steps to building your online business from building this. So this is the absolute first step. Start building your following, but what comes next? So I'll have that roadmap to show you. A lot of people get into buying all these courses, right? They're buying this course and that course, how to build content, how to do this, how to do that. You don't need to buy all that. I mean, I'm working with the most successful people in the world in online marketing. I have access to people every day of the week to find out what the best modality is for what you're trying to accomplish. I will give you recommendations when we're done as far as the next steps you want to take. Or if you're going to ramp it up in the middle of this, glad to help you with that too. But let's take advantage of the rich resources I have, and I'll help you really sort through based on what you want to do. What are the best courses and best things for you to be looking at buying into the future to really get you set up? And then, I want to do, I've mentioned this several times, but depending on what your specific challenges, if it's figuring out what you want to do, if it's figuring out your finances and trying to develop a plan for that, if it's a confidence issue, like can you really do this? I'm making myself available during this 6-month period to for consultation on whatever you need to get through this process successfully. I want you to start your business. I want you to start building your following. I want you to have a quality of life. Is it an upfront investment of time? Absolutely. Is it worth it? 100%, 200%. Okay. So that's what's coming in a couple of days. I'm going to be opening the registration for that program. We're going to be meeting on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 Pacific time online on Zoom. And I'll stay on, though, as long as I need to for the small group that we have so everybody gets individualized consultation and feedback and instruction. And let's see, once a month on a Tuesday starting on January 15th. So it's really coming up quick here. I'm super excited about this and super excited to help you out. If you are interested in learning about that when I release open registration in 2 days, there is somewhere on this page or in this email, there's a link to click on to indicate your interest. And what you'll do is click on that link and you'll fill out your name and email address, not for a lead magnet this time, but just to get that information when the program opens. It's $197 a month for 6 months. So that is a lot cheaper than working with me one-on-one for $1,000 a month. And it's about $2,000 cheaper than a lot of other online marketers charge. But the other thing that is really cool that I actually forgot to mention, another bonus, is that I'm going to teach you the basics of Facebook advertising. And Facebook advertising can be pretty elusive and can be really a black hole for money. So I want to teach you how to avoid that, how to use it well and wisely to grow your following and to grow your business. So I hope I've answered all your questions today. I just want to thank you so, so much for all the incredible questions and responses I got. I really appreciate this back and forth interaction. We're a community, and I want to be here for you. And let's keep this community together. Let's keep supporting each other. Let's go out there and build businesses that we love. So women give so much of themselves, give up so much of themselves for the benefit of others. If there's something else that you want to do that will make you happy, an online business or some sort of business that can be marketed online, this is your path to that better quality of life and to something that makes your heart sing. And that's what I want to see for you. So thanks for watching today. I hope that answered all your questions. If it didn't, shoot me an email and ask, and I'll be glad to interact with you and have a conversation. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Go out there and kill it this week.